Hello and welcome to On the Move. We are Matt and Betsy, and we have spent the last year and a half settling ourselves into Prince Edward Island and exploring this beautiful island in Canada. And today we're getting close to Christmas, so we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and do a little bit of baking with you. But maybe first we'll start with an update as to where we're at.
Sounds good. So, well, because it's the Christmas season upon us, we have been concerting, we have been partying, the girls have been dancing.
Dancing?
Yeah, they had their school dance.
Oh,
they got all
yeah,
dressed up
that's right.
for, all fancy.
Which I don't think was quite what they thought it would be.
I didn't.
The only other dance they had been to was at a wedding, my brother's wedding, and that was a very different dance.
So I didn't have the heart to tell them that the confidence level between fully grown adults and 12 to 14-year-olds is a little different when it comes to dancing. So they enjoyed the getting all pretty and prepped part. Hanging out with some friends and doing their hair and all that.
That was the important part.
Having dinner together beforehand. And that was, I think that's where they made their memories. The other part was just a little bit, at times overwhelming, and at times just they didn't really, didn't know what to do with themselves. So what else? Oh, I think there was there's just been a bunch of different events and activities going on.
Which we've been more a part of this year. Last year being our first Christmas on the island, we actually didn't stay. We went back to Ontario to see family, so this is our first Christmas here, and it's nice. It feels more established. We're creating our own traditions and routines here. Yeah. It's nice.
It is good. Work's been busy, of course, because we're looking at end of year, so we're just trying to tidy everything up before we swing into a new year. So I promised I washed my hands. But if they look a little dirty and stained, it's because I have learned how to, or am learning how to dye the yarn. So kind of one of the end processes of the whole yarn making process. So anyway, they're a little bit dark because today was dark amethyst brooch and curl wing, which is black. So don't mind my stained fingers.
And I've been working in one school consistently over the last little while rather than I was doing substitute work here and there and everywhere, and that has been nice. But it's also been odd because I used to do a lot of running of children's Christmas concerts and holiday concerts this time of year, and I didn't do any of those this year. So it was a little bit freeing, but it was also a little bit, I think, felt like something was missing.
We did get to enjoy the concert at the girls' school, which they did. They opened up for everyone to come. They did it on an evening. So there was a canteen during the intermission. They also did a cake auction because the grade 9s are doing some fundraising. So all around, it was a really great event. Yeah. And it was fun to walk in and just realize how many people we recognized and can say that we knew. So just lovely to feel a little bit more like we belong and like we were at home. So that was nice.
It's it feels more like a close community. These are the people that you see down at Cooper's, or you drive by them at this or that, or you see them
at the church,
or at take out when you go get pizza or something like that. Yeah. So and we all get together for these things. So that's nice.
Yeah. So it was great to show up where all of our kids also gather all the time and just sort of share that time together.
All right, amidst all the baking that we're doing this season, what are we doing today?
We are going to do molasses cookies, or I'm going to slaughter this possibly, but molasses kucha, if you're talking.
They come from her. I've been trying over a number of years, off and on, trying to recreate these things, but they're something from your childhood, right?
They are. So I think if there is an actual official recipe, which I think is a questionable thing.
Well, your mother's recipe is, yeah.
So it comes from this book here, Favorite Family Foods, which is a Mennonite published cookbook. It comes out of, it says Listowel. Oh, if you want additional copies, contact so-and-so in Listowel and Fergus.
Yeah.
So it was compiled.
This is in Ontario.
It was compiled by the Sisters of the Markham Mennonite Church in 1984. And my mother's copy looks nothing like this. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there's pages falling out, things are stained and oil and fingerprints on them. As you can see, mine is still pretty pristine. So.
Well, what I've done with it, this is what I do. I take, because, I'll back up for a second. So The instructions in these, if you're somebody who enjoys baking and cooking and you'd like all the details to be known for what you're doing, don't use this book because it's very vague. They assume that you have pre-existing knowledge.
The term is, these ladies are intuitive bakers. So whenever you ask my mom for any kind of baking instructions, it's, well, you do it till it looks right.
Yeah.
Or you knead it till it feels right. So baking is just, and cooking in general, is just so ingrained from them from so young that a lot of it really truly for them is about feel and look.
And
so
it was
they're
just
not
passed down to them, and they watched and helped their mothers.
exactly.
And things, right?
So they're not
Yeah.
measuring stuff.
Yeah.
They
So-
just know roughly how much goes in.
This one has one of the more detailed explanations on it. Well, maybe it's in the middle of details. It says, after it has a list of ingredients, and then pinch off pieces the size of a walnut and dip in white sugar and sprinkle a drop of water on for crinkle. Roll into balls, bake. No temperature, no time, just roll and bake.
Roll and bake. But my mom makes these cookies and they're perfect or practically perfect every time.
And I haven't been able to do it
He
yet.
has not been able to nail it.
I've been making notes on a cue card that I've
Every
been...
time he makes it, I say, needs to be a little more this. Needs to be a little more that.
So we're going to find out today whether we get any closer to the real thing.
Okay, sounds good. So you go ahead and talk through what we're doing.
Okay, we've pre-measured some things. We're going to use the creaming method for cookies, which I commonly do when I make cookies. So we're going to start with, and I'm going to go back and forth between grams and ounces because I'm stuck in between. In butter, when I'm dealing with butter, ounces works really well. A cup of butter is 8 ounces. So we're going to use 3/4 of a cup, which is 6 ounces.
Which he left in the microwave because we did not pull it out and get it to room temperature.
Nor is our house room temperature.
Oh my golly, no.
Which you would know from previous videos.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying watching a podcast that comes out of Svalbard, if some of you might know about it. And I felt so good the other day when she talked about the fact that they had woke up and their house was like 16 degrees because the wind was blowing. So I just felt like a kindred spirit because I can understand that. Our house is definitely colder when the wind blows.
Mm-hmm. For me, cookies, it's important to cream your butter and sugar well before you do anything else to get a really good consistency to your cookie.
I can't make cookies. I have tried and tried and tried. I think I can make a pretty darn good cake. I can pull that off. I can do other things. I have a cookie that I made last night that's a cookie. It's more of like a drop type. It's a cereal coated in chocolate and peanut butter.
That you throw in the freezer.
That I throw in the freezer to kind of keep together. But it's delicious.
Yeah.
But when it comes to baking cookies, they never work. I don't know.
I'll just keep making cookies. Okay, here we go. Creaming well. Okay, so I added an egg to that as well. And when you're done, it should kind of look like that.
So, just to completely confuse you, if you're actually trying to use this recipe, which I don't really expect you to take this as baking instruction. It's more like hang out with us and hear our baking experiences. I'm going to read the list of what the original recipe actually calls for. So, a 3/4 cup of shortening. I do not see shortening on this counter anywhere.
Well, I could have. So I started by using a combination of shortening and butter because one melts at a lower temperature than the other, gives a different consistency, but you weren't happy with that, so we killed the shortening.
A cup of brown sugar. We saw that go in an egg. 4 tablespoons of molasses.
It says...
Just wait.
Okay.
4 tablespoons of molasses. Mix blackstrap and maple syrup together.
Yes, because blackstrap is like the dregs of the molasses. It's the super cheap stuff.
Bitter?
Yeah, more intense, more bitter. Like this, what we're using, what you buy in the grocery store is fancy molasses.
Which I'm pretty confident that's what my mother uses. I don't think she buys blackstrap.
But I figure, this is my guess at it, that blackstrap was cheap and they had access to maple syrup.
Maple syrup was cheap because they made it.
They were from country where it was made.
It's everywhere. Actually, if you buy your maple syrup in the Elmira, Kitchener-Waterloo area, chances are you're buying it from a Mennonite-run farm. The other ingredients are 2.5 cups of flour, a pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons soda. Doesn't clarify that it's baking soda.
That's got to be baking soda. I think
know.
That's just old.
That's just smart, but anyway. And then it just says cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves to taste.
Yeah.
Wait a second. What are you doing? Oh, you're weighing.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like...
So molasses is super sticky stuff. So instead of weighing, instead of taking, what do they want, 4 tablespoons and getting a tablespoon all messy and then trying to scoop it out of there and it doesn't all come out, I just weigh it right into the bowl.
So what else did you just throw in there?
Molasses.
Just molasses?
Yeah, so far. Well, I could put the vanilla in now too. Sure.
Go for it.
And it calls for what, a teaspoon of molasses? Of vanilla?
Doesn't?
Doesn't?
No.
Oh, well, my recipe, vanilla basically makes everything taste more like itself. So we're adding a splash of vanilla to it.
Does you like that? Makes everything taste more like itself.
Yeah. It's like salts, but in the sweets world of things.
Vanilla is a fun one that you can fool your children with, because if you get them to smell it, they want to eat it. But by itself, it's not at all what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we've creamed all the wet ingredients. Now we're and yes, sugar's a wet ingredient. And now we're gonna do dry into this. What do we got?
So while he works on that, I'll tell you about another semi-unintentional Christmas holiday tradition that we've sort of ended up with. I can take a guess at where it came from. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll try my best. So several years ago now, probably, our oldest daughter fell in love with the Harry Potter book series. So she has read the books, the whole series, I believe, a complete time of 3 times. So they want to watch the movies, and I didn't want these movies playing all the time, being watched over and over, partially for my own sanity and partially just because they're pretty intense movies. And at that time, they were significantly younger.
Yeah, and we actually, it took a few years before we let them actually, they had to grow up some to view all of them.
Yeah. So then once they had actually seen all of them once for the first time, for some reason, because I do this as a parent, I throw out random, I don't know, rules or suggestions or guidelines. So at one point, she probably asked to watch Harry Potter at a very inconvenient time, and I said, no, you can watch it during the Christmas holidays. So now it's become a thing that we watch the Harry Potter series throughout the entire Christmas holidays, which has nothing really whatsoever to do with Christmas. I think they have a Christmas feast each season or each year or each book. But beyond that, I don't know. So anyway, immediately following this, we will be going down. We are on only number 2.
Number 2.
I'm pretty sure last year we didn't even make it through all of them because I think they kind of got bored partway through. Now, this year we are here the whole time. We're not with as much family, so there just won't be as many game days and hanging out and overeating quite as much. So we might actually get through the series with the 4 of us this year. We'll have to see.
Yeah. And they're older, they can stay up a little bit to watch them.
Yeah,
too.
I'll let them stay up later. And because you know what? They've crossed the line. They'll sleep in. That's brand new. That both of them will sleep in is new. Neither of our girls were sleeper inners. So to let them stay up late was risky because they would not make up for it. But now they'll at least sleep in. So we've reached the stage in life where we have to say, okay, now it's time to get out of bed. Okay, do you have all the dry stuff in there?
Let me double check.
What did you all throw in?
Okay, so we put 2 cups of flour. Actually, a little more because last time you said they didn't have enough tooth to them, so we put.
They just kind of went all over the pan.
350 grams of flour. We put 2 teaspoons of baking soda. That's the soda. Half a teaspoon of salt, which if you're watching me, I didn't measure it. And
that's okay. It says a pinch of salt.
Yeah. And then I did 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of cloves.
I really like cloves. They're not so much Matthew's favorite, but I think they just add a real depth to anything ginger, molasses.
Yeah, and note that actually there is no ginger in this because these are not ginger.
They're not ginger cookies.
They're not ginger molasses.
Molasses.
Yeah, so there's no ginger in these. Okay, this is going to be quick because we don't want to overmix these.
Okay. Okay, so that wasn't quite actually that quick, but you get the point. Don't overmix it. We don't
And
want
it did it on slow speed too.
tough
You don't want to
cookies.
go, well, one, you don't want your flour going out.
I'm going to move the parchment. It might crinkle a bit. Oh, geez, sorry.
Careful. That's like, so when you're baking, you always run into, oh, we don't have any of this in the house. Well, today it was sugar, like plain refined
white sugar.
Which is what we're going to roll these things in.
So.
Oh, you're just going to put your hand in and roll. See, I was going to use a disher.
What?
Yeah, disher, like an ice cream scoop.
I didn't even have, I don't think, an ice cream scoop in the house to scoop ice cream growing up.
But we're looking. Actually, I didn't either. But I like the uniformity of it.
Okay, well, do you need to use the disher? That looks like a big cookie. All right, give me a disher.
Yeah.
Give me a disher.
I figured we're going big with these guys. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think that's much. That's pretty close to here's what you did.
You be the judge.
You were pretty close. It's a little smaller.
So, rolling it in the sugar. And then I'm just going to give it a little press down.
Oh, you're going to press it too.
Sometimes my mothers will have 3 finger marks where it got pressed down.
We haven't done the drop of water. Yeah, we don't do that because that gives it like that crinkle effect to it.
We don't bother.
We're not doing that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 2. You give us a minute. We'll be right back with a full platter here. Okay, so we roll. Okay, don't lift the pan. I keep calling it a platter. It's a pan. There they are, ready to go into the oven.
We're going to 365 is what we're going with.
365 is what we've chosen.
And last time I did it, I figured it was about 10 minutes.
Those are pretty big. I think it's going to be a little bit longer, so you hold tight, and we will come back, hopefully, with baked cookies.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is what we came up with. She's looking at them going, oh, I don't know already.
She's looking at them going, they're hot, aren't they?
Well, no, they've been sitting for about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought they were
They're just warm cookies.
Super hot.
Well.
Oh, not bad, not bad. I like the color in there. So.
They're not your mother's.
No, they're not. My mom's are chewier. I don't know how she does it, and I keep asking. I don't know. She probably doesn't know either.
See, I think there's too much flour in there now.
There's too much flour in there now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still a good cookie.
Yeah.
But not quite right, so we'll have to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hope that you're enjoying some holiday baking, either that somebody else made or that you're making yourself, and some traditions. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're making some new ones, or maybe you're enjoying some old ones. Otherwise, we do wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Union.
A Happy Union.
A Happy New Year, and all the best in 2023.
Take care.